Okay, so now that I have a little bit of more room on my phone, I can upload a little bit. I forgot when I was recording the 2 or 3 videos prior to this that I needed to actually. Okay, actually, not 3 videos. I believe the Waking Up Thoughts number 2. I believe I called it. That's actually like really old. It just apparently never got uploaded. I think I decided not to, but just for the sake of getting it off my phone and not wanting to watch and listen to myself being incoherent at the moment, I kind of just said, fuck it, there's something in here on the reason why I uploaded it or recorded it. So I did that. I uploaded it. It's old. I'm maybe shirtless right now, but as you saw in the Nintendo conspiracy video, uh, and whatnot, there's a reason for it. It's hot in here and everything. You don't care. You don't care. So, anyways, I think one of my videos actually did get deleted. I think it was Conspiracy Nintendo Part 2 / Conspiracy Part 1. So, anyways, as you've seen from the last few videos, if you're watching in order, of course, I've been trying to get this thought on how an idea that I had, therefore myself personally, am actually linked to the Nintendo Switch and the idea of it. So, I don't know how many independent people there are out there. You don't need to have a big corporation in order to make a video game console or make any bit of hardware tech. I mean, think of it like this. Back in the pioneer days, not the, Old West or anything, but the tech pioneer days, hell, Bill Gates, I think, made the original Windows operating system in his mother's garage. I don't know if it's his mom's garage or his own personal garage, but that's just what I heard. He basically just made it out of, he wrote the code himself. He made the first Windows computer himself or whatever. There might have been Steve Jobs. I don't know. Point being is that you don't need to have all this fancy money and corporation type shit in order to make your own console. So that's where this all starts, is me and my brother John, and more recently I've spoken to my brother Devin, as I've said in the past, about how we could make our own video game console. And we were just going to be video game lovers and gamers and whatnot who just wanted to do it for the sake of doing it. Get our own little team together, just like how Naughty Dog and Insomniac got their start. There's just a bunch of buddies, and then ultimately, boom, they shot off, So that was our plan. That was our thoughts, even though we have our own financial struggles that don't allow us to actually be able to do so more immediately. Now, where the conspiracy part comes in, if I can get this all out there, is again, I've already spieled like 3 times, rambling and probably repeated myself on the whole 9/11 Bush, thing on how he taps our phones and whatnot. And I wanted to try and actually get an entire video series out on that because of my frame of mind at the time where I just wanted to just get all that out. But anyways, I'm going to try and keep this short, being that I still have to upload a multi-parter and I don't know how my phone is going to handle that. Once I start trimming and cutting, if it's going to create separate videos at that point or how that's going to work. But I've got, like I've said before, 5 videos where I need to do that, or 3 or whatever. So, me and John, we talked about how we would make a very decent screen resolution. We didn't get into details of it. We were just brainstorming the idea. And how we operate as people is when we're brainstorming until we have better means of progression, we kind of just throw the ideas out there, then they just sit in our heads and whatnot. So we thought, okay, why don't we make a Game Boy. Essentially, the idea was actually used, or the words over the phone. Here's where the whole Bush administration thing comes in, where he would tap our phones and everything that people have done the conspiracy theory on and whatnot. People think it's a thing. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying at the end of my last video before it actually cut itself off. So I don't know if it actually got uploaded and out there. But if you're into conspiracy theories, and if you're into the Illuminati, and if you're into, the idea of the government phone tapping, or tapping us and stealing data out of our computers, using Wi-Fi, our smartphones, using both cell service and Wi-Fi and whatever else, look up, I believe this is the exact title, so you could probably just sit there and go, okay, Google, and find out. I don't do that sort of thing. I'm old school. I ask people for information or look it up in a book. I don't go to the Google library for everything. Lazy ass people. So there's a documentary out there called Terms and Conditions May Apply. You could probably find it on Amazon or wherever you buy documentaries. Where I saw it first, I don't know if it's still on there, is actually Netflix. I know Netflix shuffles their library or streaming library quite frequently now since they're starting to, get their own content out. They need to cycle all that through so that people can watch it. Cycle out other people's contracts so they get their own shit out. Anyways, so go watch that movie, then come back if you so choose. But what that has to do with it is my brother John brought up or showed me a video that had to do with the Pokemon Go when it first came out. And it was the hype of everything. Everyone's like, oh, my Pokemon Go, and, I'm going to, whatever. So he showed me a video that actually this guy was talking about, and if I can find it again, I will actually put a link in the description below of this video. That way you can see what I'm talking about. Maybe it will be a little enlightening for you. Showing on how there are certain organizations within our government that aren't as well known like the NSA and other, FBI. There's other smaller agencies out there that aren't as well known for good reason. One of them, in my opinion, is most people just don't pay attention and think and, want to dive into stuff. And so everyone knows about the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the National Security or whatever. But they don't know about the agencies that their whole purpose is to gather your data off of your cell phone. Ping it, monitor, watch your GPS, listen to your phone calls. Again, Bush supposedly started doing this. I need to get back into the swing of watching these kind of videos again and movies. But yeah, ultimately, I kind of just shrug things off for the most part. But when me and John and me and Devin started talking about developing this idea of a game console without the means of doing so, and we just wanted to kind of refine and forge the idea in our minds and just talk about it. At the time he lived in South Carolina. He still does. He just kind of moved out of his parents' house finally. Good for you, John. That's where he was living at the time when we were talking about these things. This was like years ago. This was like 4 years ago or so, when the Nintendo Switch wasn't a thing. It was, code name, I think, the NEX, I believe it was, the NEX. Which, that idea that they were talking about, it's going to be able to let you play the older games on a newer console or whatever. I don't remember much about what went on with the NEX when it was around as an idea and a code name. I actually wouldn't mind looking that up and talking about it just for the sake of doing so and voicing my thoughts. Because it would honestly make me feel good if corporations did go on YouTube and they did research on what their audience, whether it's gamers or moviegoers or comic book fans or comic book fans, people who want to see the character on the big screen done properly, whatever. Actually hear the feedback of what happens. I hear, people make these changes in their TV shows or their movies or whatever because they do pay attention, but lately it doesn't seem like they do. But yeah, back to the phone tapping. So me and John talked about, we actually did use the term Game Boy because that's what we are familiar with from our childhood. A Game Boy, something that is handheld, something that can fit in your pocket. That's what the concept of a handheld game or console was back in the day, was something that could legitimately fit in your pants pocket. Nowadays with fashion, pockets aren't even made to be put your hands in. Or maybe that's just girl pockets because, I wear girl jeans mainly because we can't afford new pants, so half the time I get, hand-me-downs or whatever. But anyways, Fashion has completely changed since the 90s when the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and everything was around. But we wanted to try and bring that back, and go, hey, we're gamers. We want to bring that. Oh, I'm at the 10-minute mark. Bring that back. Be able to have the, again, if the idea if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Yeah, it's kind of cool to have a touchscreen like the Nintendo DS has, but that was also bigger and bulkier. If we can, when the iPod came out, and trust me, all this is connected, okay? When the iPod came out, it was big and bulky. And then it got slimmer. It was able to take a screen about, yay big with the, like, 4th gen Nano and have 16 and even 30 gigabytes of memory on it, I think. 32 or whatever. Okay, so the original iPod had to be bulky and have that, and have the processing capability. Then it was thin as a paper. If we can slim things down, why make them smaller and not actually allow them to do more? If we can miniaturize the memory and the processors and everything, my tube TV, my PlayStation 2, this is not all my stuff. Some of it's Raina's, my girlfriend, but, a fucking monitor big, or even a fucking laptop. Normal size shit. If we can make these chips smaller, why not make the normal size stuff able to do more? That's one thing I've never understood. We still buy big, bulky chips that barely do much. And again, this is actually my own ignorance, because I don't build computers for a living. I'm just starting to be able to educate myself on. For years, I didn't even know what RAM stood for. But this rant aside, point being is, that's a good idea. Make the text smaller so that we can ultimately do more with it. Don't just make the item smaller. If we can make, Apple is starting to come out with, I believe their next models for laptops and even iPods and iPhones are going to be able to, they're planning ahead. We're just starting to, even though not many people are utilizing it, rather it be for film or for hardware like a screen, to be able to use 4K resolution. Now, if you record something in 4K, apparently you can see, a person's freaking pores and whatnot. Hell, what the hell can 5K do? That's what Apple's about to do. Yes, I know, this got into a tangent and a really heavy rant. But I'm actually just on an adrenaline rush now and just on the go, on the ball. Point being is, if we can do all that, if we can make things more powerful and more efficient and smaller, why not make what the original Game Boy was, or the idea of it being collapsible, like the GBA SP, the Advance SP. Why not do all of that and just make the analog tech, or even digital and cyber and smart tech that we use nowadays, why not just make that better? Why do we have to, and if we can have this Bluetooth and we can have other wireless receivers, okay, I'm about to hit the 14-minute mark, so I probably got maybe 30 seconds once I do hit it to get all this out. I'm going to try and wrap this up and say, basically, the idea of, and I'm going to go deeper into it in the next video. I am going to make another video. Once this is uploaded, I'll delete it off my phone so that I can make a full-length video of 14 or so minutes. But yeah, I have to unfortunately wait a few minutes, probably let my own thoughts process, and then let the video upload. That way I know that I can do it. But yeah, I do still also, now that I'm breathing and winding down, need to take that like hour-long video and 2 45-minute videos. 14:30. I need to trim those down, and hopefully I can get them without overlapping too much during every upload. Later, guys. See you in part 2. This actually worked out a lot better than I thought, where I can get everything without being incoherent spoken too much. So I actually stayed on track very well. Congratulations, me. Later, guys. 5 seconds left.